The year 2020 changed us. It forced us to look at ourselves, to look at who we are as a country, and as a society, and as individuals. The year forced us to grow, to change, to adapt. And so we did. We are coming back to you now, recording on January 2nd of 2021. You'll notice our introductions will be a bit different, that we as people outside of this podcast have come into ourselves more. We're excited to come back to this project, charged, changed, and ready for more adventures. Thank you to those who have been with us since the first arc, who waited patiently as the year raged on. Thank you to those who may have only just found us, who may not know that this podcast took a year off. To all our audience, we want to say, here we are. And we are so eager and delighted to welcome you back to Dandies in Danger.
Previously on Dandies in Danger.
You are more susceptible to possession.
Yes.
We're on a horrible ghost ship with some sort of demon running around and you can be possessed.
Easily.
Zachary, why did you withhold this information?
I told him that, yes.
Well, don't shout at him, Daniel.
Daniel, I was trying to keep myself and all of you safe.
We need to trust each other because we don't
Adrian
have
goes
anyone
to the
else.
cabinet.
No!
Adrian! He actually grabs him by his arm.
Adrian slaps him.
Hello, Thomas. My name's Liam.
Yeah. And he just sort of says behind him, "You all are crazy," and he goes. The second lieutenant tentatively opens the door.
Sir, do you have any concept of being trapped in time?
They all feel this ripple, this shudder go through them. The captain should know about this. You should have dinner with us tonight then. We will expect you at 8 bells. Hi, my name is Elijah. I use he, him pronouns, and I am the voice of Zachary Wilkos.
Hey, I'm Cass, pronouns she, her, and I'm voicing Liam Bardsley.
Hi, I'm Chess, pronouns he, she, they, and I voice Daniel Pritchard.
Hi, I'm Toast. My pronouns are she, they, and I voice Adrian Edwards.
Whew.
Yeah.
God, it's been a year. It has been a year since we've done that, and that was super exciting. I have to get to the right
Everyone's
document.
a little bit more trans.
Alright. So here's where we last left off. Adrian did this amazing thing where he stepped up to the plate and he convinced the second lieutenant, Fitzgerald, that he was caught in the demon dream world.
Mm-hmm.
Fitzgerald's plan now is to say, oh my god, we need to tell everybody else you should come to dinner. And we should have a talk with the captain and everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian, we're going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
First, I also want to check in and talk about what Liam and Zachary are doing. So Zachary had to go and run up and find Liam because Liam left his boy.
Yeah, Adrian also just ditched him in the room, so...
Yeah, to be fair, Adrian ditched his boy.
Yeah.
As soon as everyone was like, you need to stick to my hip and like make sure that you're never alone, and then we were all like, all right, goodbye.
Yeah.
But, you know, Zachary's a capable lad. He does go up and he finds Liam. Liam, do you recall what your objective is?
The last that we talked about, he was considering talking to Thomas again. They had kind of flubbed it up with a really bad roll last time, and so Thomas was incredibly freaked out. And so
what was the number of that roll? That was
it was pretty low. It
was a 1.
It was, you know, you could probably one hands, you could count it.
One finger, you could count it.
Okay, cool. All right, so
he's a little bit freaked out, and so
Do you punish your dice yet?
Oh shit. No.
It's been a year.
They've been punished by not being played with in Dandies in that much time. That was their punishment, was they didn't get to play.
Mm.
All right, so you know your objective. Daniel, your objective is?
I am tasked with keeping an eye on Ringer.
Great. We're going to start from there.
Okay.
So you're with Alan, and they are up on the quarterdeck. And if you remember, the quarterdeck is the top deck.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically the viewing deck of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not the viewing deck, because the viewing deck's a different thing. I can see the sea on this level. That's what I'm trying to say.
If you look out a window, you can see the sea on any level.
Aw, damn it. Oh, I'm the worst DM. All right. So you two are up there, and I would say you're actively looking for Ringer right now, yeah?
Yes, but I'm being discreet about it.
Okay, go ahead and roll. Perception roll, please.
10 plus whatever my perception is. Oh wait, is that plus wisdom?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then it's a 14.
14. You don't see him up there. And how that differs from, like, a bad roll is that you kind of notice it feels like someone is missing. So it's not just that you don't see him, it's that you can see everybody on this deck. And everybody who's a ship hand is up here doing their job. But Ringer is not here.
Ah, like he has been eaten.
Well, or he's being
Like
sneaky
he's been
somewhere.
removed.
Or he's being sneaky somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Or he's been eaten. Or he's being sneaky somewhere. It's hard to say. He's not here, that's for sure.
I guess I'll have to play the game to find out. It's my job to be up there right now, right?
It is your job to be up there, yeah.
So I can't really, like, okay.
You could let
That's
somebody
okay,
know
'cause-
he's missing.
That's true.
Well, Daniel kind of sidles up to Alan as discreetly as he can and kind of lets him know. He's like, Ringer is definitely missing.
That's a bit odd, don't you think?
Yes, he should be up here.
Well, what should we do about it?
We need to go looking for him.
Well, if you would like to break from ranks, be my guest. Actually, don't. I'd hate to see you punished all over again.
Is this the first day?
Yeah, this is still the first day.
Okay, so all the times that I have pretended to have a headache, no one remembers that.
Correct. Except
Okay.
you were just down there.
Oh, shit.
Like, that's when Fitzgerald went down there and was like, hey, I noticed people were missing.
Oh, yeah, and he's like, okay, he sent me back up.
There is also a person on the boat whose job it is to make sure that everybody is working where they should be.
Oh, the boatswain. Oh, okay. All right. Well, then
Capacity for the win.
Good job.
Sometimes I have ideas.
Daniel taps his nose at Alan very smartly and is like, I have an idea. And then he goes up to the boatswain.
What do you want?
Daniel's like, oh, I came over here thinking that you were doing your job.
Beg your pardon? He says, and he puts his fists on his hips.
Well, not everybody is here. Where's Ringer?
He gives you an odd look. Ooh.
He has been eaten.
No. He was our main lead.
A look of dread comes over Daniel, and he says, Ringer, the midshipman.
Is this your idea of a joke? Are you having a gaff, mate? Get back to your post, afore I tell your CEO, yeah?
Are you having a giggle, mate?
I'll knock your fucking block off, I will.
And he's like, right.
Shit.
I was quizzing you.
Well, game's over, eh? Best get back.
That analogy doesn't match up, but alright. He leaves his side, and he goes to Alan, and he looks deeply disturbed, and he says to Alan, Boatswain doesn't remember who he is. That can only mean one thing.
What does it mean?
Ringer was devoured this past cycle.
Oh! And then he goes quiet. Alright, we're gonna march on over to Liam as Zachary kind of runs up to his side and goes, there you are.
What happened to Adrian?
Wow. I think something's come over him because he left with the second lieutenant to talk to him about the issue, he says, and he throws a hand up to the ship. Yes, I don't know how that's going to turn out, but I couldn't very well follow him, and, well, he left me in the doctor's office, so I thought I'd best come to you. He looks around. Where's Thomas?
Where is Thomas? Can I perceive?
Yes, please.
Okay. Oh, that's not bad. I got a 16 then.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
Wow.
All right, friend. Thomas is standing next to the wheel.
Okay.
So he's on one side of it, sort of in the back towards the shade. There's another officer next to him, and he's standing there looking... Well, you guys had previously been talking to him about some weird stuff, so he's just looking like he's trying to concentrate extra hard on his job now, which is apparently to just stare off and guard the wheel.
Okay. And so is there another officer on the opposite side of the wheel, and or is there anybody else in that vicinity?
Yes. They're standing parallel to one another. He's not up next to the ship's wheel. Like, he's farther back, closer to, like, one of the private rooms where, like, Fitzgerald might have dragged Adrian into. And those rooms are, like, those are glass rooms. Like, you can see into them and people can see out of them. You can't hear into them, though. So he's just kind of standing there.
Gotcha. Okay.
So he's standing closer to the officer's briefing room, just making sure nobody that doesn't need to be in there walks in there. He's a good several feet away from a different officer who is also there doing the same job.
So you could probably whisper in his ear.
Liam turns to Zach. Do you think we should wait till later today to try to talk to Thomas? Give him some time to cool down. I don't know how we would get up there with him right now.
He thinks about your words and sighs, but eventually nods and says, I think what's best is for us to keep up the masquerade. Right now, with 2 ship hands not doing any work, and that looks bad.
There is a dinner hour later. Perhaps we can talk to him again then.
Perhaps.
So, Zachary, I've been thinking, what we told Charlie earlier is to wait for an accident tomorrow, right?
Yes, correct.
And that's the only thing I can imagine to tell to Thomas either, to see if we could help convince him that way. And I feel bad about using Billy's accident in general to help convince people. So I had another thought. What about Billy's friend Jimmy? What if we try to find him, have a talk with him? And he's one of the other sailors here, so it wouldn't be as suspicious for us to talk to him.
That's true. That's true.
All right. Well, let's see if we can find him then, eh?
All right. Well, you don't need to roll for this because you kind of know where he's going to be. He's already up on, like, the masts, helping with the rigging, and you kind of have, like, based on where you know you should be, you kind of have an idea of where Jimmy should be.
Okay,
So
cool.
I won't make you roll for that.
Sweet. I'm gonna go shimmy. I'm gonna shimmy up that rope to go be next to Jimmy.
All right. Give me a hot second because I didn't plan for this.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, I threw you for a loop.
No, this is good, though. So, you approach Jimmy, and Jimmy is there. He looks like he is on the deck. So I said he was in the rigging prior. I apologize. He's back on deck, and he's got some loose rope, and he is throwing the rope up to somebody else who is catching it, and, like, they're going through this kind of chain of, like, passing up these individual ropes.
Need a hand there, Jimmy?
Yeah, if you could, he says. Go ahead and pick those up. You can start throwing them over there to Cheese.
To cheese?
There's a lot of ship hands, man.
Yeah.
What, do you think you know all of them? You don't know all of them.
It's
Yeah.
fine. I'm excited. I have to save Cheese's soul. That's my new objective for this game. Is Cheese is the one whose soul we must save at the
Anyway, you assume that this man's name is Cheese is because he's blonde. We don't know. There might be a whole backstory. We're not going to get into it.
The deep cheese
The
lore.
deep cheese lore. Let that ferment for a while.
Exactly. Follow on Patreon for the cheese lore.
Cheese lore.
You're right there, Cheese.
He nods. Pass up the rope, Bardsley.
All right, well, Liam gets to tossing some of the rope and kind of nods to Zachary to, like, hand him rope so that he can throw it up there so that Zachary can look like he's doing something.
Zachary falls in line as a semi-useless cog in this machine and hands a rope to Liam, and Jimmy just sort of shakes his head, kind of laughing, and continues on with his own job of, like, throwing stuff up to the others in this big human chain all the way up.
Well, that sea shanty we had earlier this morning with Billy was the first bit of fun we've had on this whole voyage.
It's not exactly as though voyages are supposed to be fun, eh?
You could say that again. I feel like it's been years since I played a game of cards.
You want to play cards? You should join... He blinks. Yeah. Me and the other boys, we were thinking about having a game of cards.
Well, I'd love to join you for a game of cards. Who all's going to be there?
Well, Cheese might throw in, and I think Samuel might be there, and Sun must be getting to me. He turns and he throws up another wound up coil of ropes up to another person.
What's the matter? Is it only those two? Well, I mean, you know, it's not that I mind a small group as long as it's a good company, right?
Yeah, sorry, I just... He shakes his head.
You sure you're all right? The sun getting to you a bit much then. I've been having sort of a same feeling, sort of a funny feeling in my head all day.
Have you? And what's the feeling?
Well, I guess it's the repetition of everything, isn't it?
This makes him pause. He shakes his head again and he's like, take over for me, eh? I think the sun's really getting to me. He passes Liam the ropes and he starts trying to walk around him.
Hey, hang on a second, Jimmy.
Hey.
This rope you gave me is no good, look at it.
He looks at it.
Is this what you've been passing up there to Cheese? You've given Cheese all this rotten rope?
I love that sentence. I'm sorry. All right, so now what I want you to do, you have convinced, like, you have kind of opened his third eye a little bit.
All right.
In the metaphorical sense, where he's becoming a little more open and he is waking up a bit, but you haven't quite hit the, like, he's having some strange instances, and he looks at you and he goes, Do you know something, Bardsley? He says, and he's pushing the rotten rope away from him as if disgusted.
Jimmy, there's something... You know, I didn't want to make a big fuss about it or anything like that because, well, you know how the boatswain is. He won't listen to reason or anything like that. But you're a reasonable man, Jimmy. And I just feel like there should be more of us here for a voyage of this size. And there should be better quality of rope if we've only been out here for a few days. And when I said like I felt like I hadn't played a hand of cards in a few years, I meant that I feel like we've been out here for too long, Jimmy. I think something's wrong with time.
He doesn't know what that means.
I think we've been replaying the same 3 days over and over again.
There it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So Liam, you've opened his third eye wide open, and what I want you to do is I want you to take a D10, which we haven't done in a while, and I want you to roll that, and we'll see if it is a better roll than his base defense. So go ahead, roll that D10, tell me what you get.
Here we go. Well, I got a 10.
Holy shit.
Yes! Fuck, yes!
So, Jimmy looks at you startled when you say that, and you have shooketh him to the core, and Liam, you feel something ripple out, and sort of everything gets a little distorted for a second, as if you were looking at a picture underwater for a hot moment, and then it all sets back into place, but the ship doesn't look good. Like, you're starting to notice more barnacles on it. It is scuffed up. It is dusty in some places. The ropes really do look weather-beaten and worn and wet and not great, but everybody else is just operating on this ship as if they just can't see it. And Jimmy is freaking out. He is looking around, gasping and pointing at different things and going, that wasn't like the... what is... Oh my god, and he is like stepping back as he is sort of taking in this sort of ghostly kind of disturbing sight, and he looks at you and he goes, what have you done?
Ooh. Liam goes, you can see it too.
God damn it, what have you done to me? He says, and he grabs you by the front, and everybody turns and looks, because scuffles aren't supposed to happen. Everybody should be working in a team, and everybody is just like stopped and watching, and the boatswain's like, break it up, he says, and he takes like Jimmy by the front and he pushes him off Liam, and he looks at Liam and he points his like bundled up whip at Liam and he goes, what's going on here, eh?
Jimmy was just telling me he'd had a bit too much of the sun. I think he should go to the doctor's office.
He turns back to Jimmy, and Jimmy is staring at Bardsley, who just lied, and he looks at the boatswain and he goes, don't you see what's wrong? Bardsley, he's done something to the ship. And the boatswain just looks at him and goes, you are mad. Get down there, go see the doctor, eh? Everybody's got a bit of sun madness today, huh? And Jimmy turns around, he gives Liam one last harsh glare before he ducks under the quarterdeck and starts heading, presumably towards Adrian's office. Nothing else really happens that day for y'all. Unless there's something, Daniel, that you and Alan want to do.
Not in particular.
Okay, so you can't break rank anyway, so that's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And Adrian, I'm just going to say that Jimmy comes to you. Jimmy just says he's got a bit of sun sickness, and he doesn't really say much else.
Okay.
And asks for, like, a sun sickness remedy, which is probably just water.
Oh, okay.
shade.
I thought I was going to give him drugs.
You know what? I'll give you an opportunity. If you just want to give Jimmy something,
Oh, God.
as the doctor, that's your choice.
I guess so, but I've got like proper medical knowledge, so it's not just a guess that I should give him drugs. So I'll just give him some water and be like, have a sit down, rest your big old body.
Okay, perfect. I didn't know if you wanted to sow some chaos.
Yeah.
All right. Adrian, you've got an invitation to the captain's dinner that you're getting ready for. It's evening. It's dinner time for the rest of the crew. The second lieutenant goes and knocks on your door.
Adrian, he opens up the door. He's fixing his little necktie as he does so.
He's quickly kind of pushed further in by the lieutenant, who also closes the door behind him and
Okay.
then looks to him and says, I'm afraid the dinner has been cancelled tonight,
Oh,
but I still need your help.
great. What in what way, sir?
The captain has fallen ill.
Oh. Alright. How ill? How ill?
Well, the hunters told me that it was food poisoning and not to disturb him, which I think is rather suspicious, don't you?
Yes, I really don't like them. Do you know what they do? They do very bad things.
I wouldn't know. However...
Alright, well, I've got
when I
some info
suggested...
for you. I'm sorry, go on, sir. I'm sorry, I'm nervous.
However, when I asked if they should see the doctor or not, you, obviously, they said that the captain shouldn't appear weak in front of the crew.
Well, surely the one person he can appear weak in front of is the doctor.
That's what I
It's
had
important
argued
that he
with.
doesn't die.
I agree.
Well, what did they say?
You weren't permitted in.
Well, shall we sneaky snook inside?
He blinks at your phrase and he just gives sort of a nod, but he has a bit of a smile and he says, sneaking. Yes, that is what I propose.
Excellent.
So, there are the two hunters, and they are standing in front of the captain's quarters, Garrick and the other man, who you don't know. And the lieutenant goes up to one of them, says, I do think it's pertinent that the doctor sees him.
This doesn't seem like sneaking. Sorry.
Garrick gives the other hunter a look, and the other hunter looks at him back, and they said, well, after all, the crew is already rather suspicious, and we don't want anybody growing more nervous. It's up to you, Adrian, how you're going to create some kind of diversion or something like that.
Up to me.
Up to you.
But,
You have to take an action.
I was in there just the other morning speaking with the captain because we're decent work acquaintances, and I believe I left a handkerchief in there, which I would like to retrieve. It's my very special own personal handkerchief. If I could just slip in there, I won't even talk to the man.
As well as some tools.
Yes.
He's left a couple of his things in there upon checking up with the captain. The hunters kind of look at each other again, and they look back at you two. And can you look at your character sheet real quick?
Yeah.
What actions do you have on there?
I have doctor's orders. Will that work? It's a persuasion check, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I can pull a medical-related bluff that will completely convince an NPC. And I gotta roll some stuff.
Perfect. Okay. So, there you go.
Alright, okay. I'm gonna roll my d6, and anything... I think it's a 2 or higher is successful? Or is it just higher than a 2? Okay, here we go. Let's not fuck it up. I'll use the box, okay. Got a 1, babies!
And so, they sort of shake their head. And
Fuck.
they're like, basically they're not letting you in to see the captain.
Oh no.
How does this make any sense? Says the second lieutenant. If the captain is sick, he should see the doctor. This is a special case, says Garrick. And you are to leave.
Well, while we're here, I've just been reminded of something. Sirs, hunters, sirs, that might need your attention most urgently, if you're curious about that sort of thing.
They do turn their attention to you.
I don't know anything about, your line of work, specifically, at all. But, I had been in the hold, for also no particular reason, the other day. You need time to yourself sometimes on a boat. Anyway, there were some very fetid, terrible rats down there that didn't look like anything I've ever seen before.
Don't go near the rats.
Maybe. Sorry, what?
Don't go near the rats, says Garrick.
Well, perhaps you should go near the rats.
And why should I do that?
Because you're a big, strong man. You could get... And I trust you.
Is that really what he says?
He does say because you're a big, strong man.
Okay. Yeah, you're not winning any points. So he just says, if the rats bother you, don't go near the rats. We're hunters, not vermin killer.
Alright. Alright then.
The second lieutenant kind of starts pulling you away and back to your office.
Yeah, Adrian gives up. He's like, fine, that went just as well as I expected. By the way, Lieutenant, can I call you Sean?
He thinks about it. I suppose, he sighs.
Sean, how exactly was that sneaking, might I ask? As much as I trust and believe in your great, amazing capabilities, that was not very sneaky.
He sighs. I didn't expect them to be right outside the door. They were not there when I first came down here. I apologize.
Well, I think now their suspicions are doubly raised, and we might have a problem.
I believe you're right, he says, and he is nervous. I'm gonna switch it over to Daniel and Alan.
Okay.
Like I said, it's dinner. You guys usually take dinner with the others.
Mm-hmm.
You have the choice of going into the mess hall or eating in your shared rooms. Do you have a preference?
I think Daniel will want to tell Alan that Ringer is missing, so he would prefer to eat in the shared rooms, providing there are less people there.
There are less people there. Everybody's pretty much where the action is, which is the mess area.
Okay, is it only us in the...
Yeah, it's only you two.
Okay, cool.
I can guarantee that.
All right, then they're eating in the shared room. Yeah, he informs him.
Okay. So after hearing this, Alan puts down his spoon that he was eating with, and he kind of pushes his plate aside. He's not really hungry anymore. And he looks at you and he says, like he didn't even exist, like he's just gone?
As far as I can tell, gone from everyone's memories.
How is this possible?
He must have been devoured by the demon.
I don't like this situation.
I don't either, because he was the one that we thought was possessed by the demon.
Well, now someone else is possessed.
It's possible he's possessing... Well, I don't want to assume it's gender. The demon is possessing people and then causing them to go, I don't know, down into the hold, and that's where they devour them.
I don't want that to happen to another person. Do you know if your friend was able to convince Thomas?
None such luck, but I have a hunch that he will trust you if you try to convince him.
Possibly, he sighs. Right, well, then we should probably talk to him later tonight, when he's alone, on duty.
Yes, and I think we should talk to Jimmy as well.
Are you sure? He seemed a little perturbed by the whole thing.
Well, I want to know if he's been properly convinced or not.
Fair enough.
He was making such a commotion.
Yes, he certainly was, wasn't he?
I could drop in and talk to Liam, ask what happened. I could even do that now.
Well, if that's your plan, then I support it. Okay, so you're gonna go talk to Liam, and don't worry, Zachary has been sticking close to Liam.
Okay, so
Okay.
Daniel goes into the mess hall and sees Liam and Zach, who are probably eating together, right?
Yep, they wave him down. Zachary sees Daniel and raises a hand and is like, over here.
He kind of nods at him and comes over, and he sits right across from Liam, right next to Zach, and he's like, so, and then he taps his taps his knuckles on the table, Jimmy. And he's looking right at Liam, and like, please explain.
So, here's the thing. I've, obviously, as you may have guessed, I've got some good news and some bad news. The good news is that Jimmy's eyes have been opened. The bad news is that he won't stop glaring at me from across the mess hall, and I don't think he really actually believes it. I think he thinks I've done something to him, and I was really hoping that he'd be able to convince Billy to not go up in the rigging tomorrow because they're such pals, but he's more, it seems, well, he's sort of not helpful at this point.
He wants to deck him, I think.
I don't know what to do about him, but what about you, Daniel? Have you had any luck keeping an eye on Ringer? I haven't seen him down here.
His expression goes immediately grave when you mention the name. He looks at Liam and Zach, making sure they're both listening, and he lowers his voice a bit, and he says, Ringer was taken.
Zachary's expression falls. Taken?
Christ.
No one remembers him. He's gone.
What?
Just like the man before him.
He nods.
So then does it follow that there's someone else now? Someone else that we should have our eye on instead of Ringer? Can I do, I don't know if it would be a perception or an investigation, but I want to look around the room to see if anybody looks off. Can I do that?
I mean, yeah, I will definitely let you roll to, have a glance. Let's do perception for that and just have you have a glance around to see if, you...
I don't think we have investigation.
Oh,
No.
yeah. I'll just perceive.
So go ahead with the D20 to do that. And we'll just use our action scale.
Yeah, I've got 16 altogether.
Okay, fantastic. You notice that some people look like they're kind of with Jimmy in terms of glaring at you now, Mr. Bardsley.
Oh, shit.
And you notice there are more than one mean mug looking at you. And even Herschel, the cabin boy, is kind of giving you a weird nervous glance.
Oh, not Herschel.
We've never even talked to Herschel. That's not nice.
Is Charlie around?
Charlie's currently helping the cook. He's not paying
Okay.
attention to anything except sort of the food and making sure things are getting cleaned at this point, now that everybody's been served.
Okay, so Charlie and Thomas are the two that we told to look out for an accident happening the next day.
Yeah.
And to approach us if there was an accident.
Yeah.
Which is very incriminating.
Yeah, which is very incriminating, but... All right.
We gotta make sure that none of us are actually up there with Billy whenever he falls off.
Yeah. Anyway. So you've had a look around, you've only noticed mean mugs, and then Daniel's told you the news, and that's kind of all that's really able to be reported at this point. Do you guys want to talk about anything else? Is there anything else that's pertinent that needs to be talked about?
I don't think so.
Chess, anything that you want to mention to them or anything?
Well, I'm not quite sure what to do now, but I've asked Alan to talk to Thomas, the private who was guarding us in the brig last cycle when we messed up terribly. Anyway, I saw Alan's face over his shoulder. I've still got the little man, and he pats his inner breast pocket, and hopefully we can get more people on our side.
All right, I'm going to go back up to where Adrian and the second lieutenant are, and the second lieutenant is currently, biting his knuckle. You guys are both back in your office. You're out of view of the hunters, and he's going, I need you to get in there to talk to the captain.
Oh, I would love to.
We'll have to create some kind of diversion. Something that would garner their attention to get away from the captain's quarters. Why did you mention rats earlier, by the way?
There are rats down in the hold, actually. Some very dreadful rats. They're covered in pustules. They seem to be quite, dreadful and sickly, and probably part of the whole problem here.
Garrick doesn't really seem to like the rats, does he?
No. I mean, I think it has something to do with... No, in fact, I know this has something to do with everything happening here.
Well, alright, so we know that Garrick doesn't like the rats and we need a big commotion. What kind of plan can we formulate?
Get a rat? Do you want a rat? Shall we get rats?
I personally do not want a rat,
Catch a
but
rat?
I think catch a rat might be a good idea. Perhaps if we released it in front of it, they might hate it enough to go after it.
Catch a rat. Adrian kind of zones out. He is thinking very hard about rats.
There are rat traps that I know that every ship keeps on it because rats are inevitable on a ship. And they always get in the feed somehow, so we always keep traps with us and on us. They're in storage, though.
Well, we'll go to storage then, shan't we?
We shall. And so you guys kind of go down and you mean mug the two hunters that are standing in front of the captain's quarters, and you... Well, I'm sure Adrian does. I don't know if Sean does.
We're definitely not up to anything.
You guys both head down. It is to be assumed that you're going to get dinner because the mess hall is below the deck you guys are on. So it's kind of like you're just giving up and now you're just going to eat pretty much. You go all the way down to the orlop, and there are some lanterns lit around the orlop so that windowless space is lit, even though it's now beginning evening, so it's dark. Adrian, I'm going to let you take the lead on this.
As I'm sure you know, Sean, as an expert on boats and things, who's told me many things about boats, we'll have to go to the hold, which is where the traps are, presumably, and where all the rats are. Shall we go?
I sense you're hesitant to go down there.
It's very nasty, just to give you a bit of a warning. It's quite... It's gross. It's gross, Sean.
Do rats make you queasy, Doctor?
Only the ones that look like this. In fact, I love rats. I was so excited to see these rats, and we got down here and we found out they were horrible. They look as if they've got the plague, and I'm not allowed to touch them.
He blinks at you. He doesn't know anything about the rats, remember? He's just like,
I know.
What are you talking about? And then, so he just goes and he grabs one of the lanterns, and he...
Sean, do you have a pointy stick? A bayonet stick?
Yes. No. Sorry. He does have a sword.
A sword?
Alright, a sword is even better than a pointy stick.
Is there something down there other than rats that I should be aware of?
No, it's just the rats. The rats are so
They're
bad,
just
Sean.
rats. Doctor, then stay behind me, he says, and he starts going down.
I'm trying to tell you. They're not just rats.
Are you following him down there?
Yes, he is, but he's kind of badgering him along the way.
Okay, good.
It's like the killer rabbit.
I know. No, it's with pointed teeth. Alright, so you guys are in the hold.
Adrian's scooted up really close behind him without realizing it.
he sees the rats and he immediately goes, jumping Jehoshaphat! And you can see there are more little bodies in the darkness. They are...
Ew.
No.
So before, you kind of knew that there was, like, stuff and things. There are little rat bodies falling off of, like, large feed containers because there's just no room on any surface. They're all jumping over one another. There's, like, a small layer of rats in one area because you've had to push them back away. They will not go towards your light, by the way.
What
It's
if
like
the
there's
rats
this
are
circumference around the light, and they just can't stand it.
What if the rats are the demons?
See, I've told you.
And he takes out his sword immediately, and he's like, oh my god.
Just rats. They're making you a little queasy. I'm sorry, please don't get mad at me.
He looks at you, and he's just like looking back at the rats, and he goes, I think I shall look at rats differently now from now on.
Yes.
All right. He takes another lantern that isn't lit, he lights it, and he hands it to you, Adrian. They seem to not like light, so the rat traps should be fairly obvious. They're medium-sized cages that you can trap one of these bastards in.
I've seen one of them before, in a museum.
Fantastic.
This museum,
Well then,
actually.
go for it, he says. And he also starts looking around. But he stops, and he takes out a smaller sort of dagger, and he hands it to you.
Oh, thank you. I should love to stab a pustulous rat.
Just in case. And then he...
Are you walking away from me?
Well, we have to search, don't we? You have your light. They don't seem to want anything to do with it.
Okay, well, be careful, Sean.
I'm still reeling at the fact that he let you call him Sean. And I'm the DM. Anyway, are we going to investigate? We don't have investigate. Are we going to perceive? We'll just
I
do it
will
with a
roll.
d20. Yeah.
I got 15 in total.
15 in total. So you see a rat cage. It's all the way towards the back of the ship.
Aha. Far away.
It's far away. It's behind some stuff and things, but your light catches it, and the rats, who are sort of parting whenever the light is near them and retreating further into the shadows, has revealed that there is a cage.
All right, I found a cage.
Are you going towards it?
Yes. I'm going to creep over here. Perhaps would you like to creep with me?
Oh, you found one. Good, he says, and he turns and
I did find one.
he starts going with you. There is a little line of rats. So it's behind something that has a rather steep shadow. Adrian, what are you going to do?
Lieutenant, perhaps you ought to poke about a bit with your sword.
Poke about a bit.
Just stab blindly into the dark. What could go wrong?
Well, I could injure one of us. That's what could go wrong.
Well, not if I'm right up super close to you.
So you guys head closer. And he does take out his sword, and he gives you one last confused look, and he starts kind of like, swish, 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 swishing his sword in the darkness. And one of the rats climbs up his sword and towards him, and he flails, and he just like chucks this thing off of him, and then he steps back, and he goes, I don't think I shall be doing that again.
Did it get you? It didn't get you, did it?
It did not, no.
All right. Apologies. That was not a good idea. I thought maybe it would be. Can I, like, roll again to see what that very steep shadow is, or should we just go grab the
I can just
thing?
tell you what the steep shadow is. It just looks like another box that probably contains some food in it.
Okay, well then I just want to run up and snatch that trap.
Well, there you go. So your light,
I was scared.
your light obviously like makes a bunch of the rats like part to the side and go away, but they are all hissing at you. And you can hear hissing above you. And it's because there are huge crates and boxes. And there are rats kind of like edging towards like the edge of the box, staring down and hissing at you. And saliva is dripping down from their little maws. And you pick up the rat trap. And the lieutenant goes, now all that we need to do is actually put one of these things in there.
Oh, right. I almost forgot about that part.
That's the whole reason for this. Perhaps we can corral them.
Oh, we have to separate again. I'm gonna scooch over there with your light.
He nods. All right.
Okay.
He backs up and allows you room. And so you guys, which angle are you gonna? So what's your plan? If the idea is to corral, do you have a plan?
I don't put it on the ground and then kind of like whoosh our lanterns at them.
Cool. Are you coming in from left or right?
Guess I'll go right. Sean go left.
Okay.
Pincer formation.
You direct him to do so, and he follows. You're kind of like shoving them in, but the rats don't want to go quite into the cage. It's a pretty open cage, so the light will still reach into the cage. So the lieutenant takes his coat off, and which is a pretty important
What you
piece
doing?
of his status. Well, I'm
Sean.
figuring, and he puts his coat over the cage. You'll be fine, he says, and he rolls his sleeves up. Give them someplace dark.
Alright.
Alright.
Okay.
So, shall we try again? I'm gonna have you roll to see if, like, if you can successfully corral them in.
Okay. What should I do? Like a 20?
A 20's fine. We'll just do another action scale.
Okay. I got a 5.
Doesn't work. They're all jumping over it and away from it.
What? Wait, another idea, which is very bad, but it's the best I have. What if you get another rat on your sword and you fling it into the trap? Fling. Fling the rat.
My skills as a swordman are good, but I don't think they're that good.
I'm working with so little here.
Well, you're in a storage area. There's food. The rats seem to be attracted to something.
Well, let's get some crumbs and make the rats go in the traps to eat the crumbs. Should we do that, Sean?
So you guys do. This is breaking the rules, but he does lift up the supply crate top, and he does, like, go in. He finds some biscuits and he throws some hardtack, really, and he throws those crumbs in. And then I'm gonna have you try once again. Go ahead with an action roll.
Okay. I don't want to fuck it up.
I wouldn't let you.
Oh, I got a natural 20 that time.
Fantastic. Okay, so you corral them in, and a lot of them are sniffing around, and then they just dart right in, and then the trap just, pack! A little, like, angry rat, and then this cage with a coat on it starts rattling around. And then Sean goes over to it and puts his knee on top of the cage to hold it down, and it's still, like, shaking, and the coat is the only thing keeping him safe from the rat's, like, little teeth. And he goes, "We got one. We've got one," he says.
Let's get out of here. Let's go.
And you both exit up, and you're heading towards the mess hall with this shaking cage.
Nothing to see here, nothing to see here. Cage is just like, wow!
No worries.
It's retreated into the back of the cage, and it's hissing, but it's a lot more quieter now that it's away from all the others. It seems to have a lot less energy.
It's like the Borg. We can separate it and then befriend it, separating it from the hive mind.
Do not befriend the rat. So, alright. So he turns to you and says, "Where's the best place to put this?"
Why? I mean, sorry. Forgive me.
You seem to know what's going on. I've only just woken up.
Alright, I just thought... Oh, it's alright. Okay, well, around the corner from the hunters and just chuck it out so they'll see it, most likely?
"Yeah, I could do that," he says. And he opens the cage, and he's standing from below, and he chucks the rat up, and you see this little rat body fling up from, like, if you were standing, like, where the hunters are standing, what you see is whispering. Like, they don't see you guys, but they hear whispering, and then they see this little rat body go, "Wow!" up it goes, rolls.
Oh, good show.
And, like, catches itself, and then it looks at the hunters, and then goes, "Ah!" And then and then it races off into the shadows, and then Garrick and Harry go after it, and up onto the quarterdeck where the rat is currently running away from them.
Wow, I honestly didn't expect that to work. Well, shall we go quickly?
You go. I will go out outside.
Oh, alright. Okay, but if I do start screaming, please come help me.
Yes, of course.
Alright, excellent. Okay, goodbye.
All right, so you go into
He runs in.
You go into the captain's quarters. Fantastic, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
The captain is laying down on the bed, and he looks ill, and he goes, "Doctor? Oh, good. So they did send for you."
Yes. You're unwell?
Incredibly nauseous.
Just realized I didn't bring anything with me. But do tell me more of your symptoms.
Nausea, mostly. Fatigue and aches.
Shit.
Your office is right across the hall. Like, you can just duck out and get
I could
stuff.
run out there? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just so scared. Okay. Well, first I want a little bit more information in case, well, don't worry about it, but when did you start feeling ill? Do you think it's something you ate? Was someone nearby? Maybe? Have you seen any bad rats? Have you eaten any bad rats?
You're asking a lot of questions. Are these real questions that you're asking
I
him?
know. Yes, he is
Okay.
actually asking all these.
All right, so he's staring at you as you're rattling off all these questions, and he goes, "Are you feeling well?"
I'm the doctor, you know. These are standard procedure questions. Alright, fine. One question. When did you start feeling unwell?
About lunchtime.
About lunchtime. What did you have for lunch?
He shrugs and he goes, just something normal. Just soup and, braised pork.
Braised pork. Wow, you get a fancy meal. This is useless to me, but I'll be right back and I'll go get my things. Pshing, dashes out the room.
As you pass Fitzgerald says, remember, you're supposed to be waking him up.
Oh, right, that's what I'm doing. Right, exactly. I'm getting my things. I'll be right back.
So you come back and you start treating the captain, and how is the conversation going?
Well, sir, I just remembered something very important. On top of you being unwell, there's something going on the ship. Have you noticed anything strange, sir?
If something strange is happening on my ship, then my lieutenants are more than fit to handle it.
That's unlikely. Sir, with all due respect, actually, something very bad is happening. Probably somebody else should be talking to you about this. I don't know how I got landed with this, job. I mean, not to be rude. I mean, you're an amazing captain, probably. I don't know you at all, but, hold on. And Adrian just takes a swig of one of his own drugs.
Your wisdom is down by 1.
Oh, good.
So is your persuasion roll.
Shit. Sorry about that. Alright, I'm going to level with you, Captain, sir.
Did you just take a sip of laudanum?
Oh, in front of...
It was for...
You get
no,
migraines.
it was... I get migraines.
Are you currently experiencing one?
Yes, actually.
Perhaps we should have brought 2 doctors.
You don't know what it's like, honestly, but
Don't
let
be
me
rude.
level with you, Captain, sir. I just meant it as conversationally. You don't know what it's like. We both have very different lived experiences. I don't know what it's like to be a captain. But I would love to level with you, sir, if you would allow me to.
I don't understand what the informality is about, Doctor. And I'm not sure I understand what is currently wrong with you that you would take from your own supply in such a manner in front of me. Now I am sick. What on earth is it that you are trying to tell me? Be plain.
I am going to. I'm trying to level with you. The point, in fact, is there's, Sorry, Adrian does go, because he's like, ooh, I hope this is not the demon. What if I'm about to die?
That is so fucking funny. Alright, go ahead.
Right. Well, let me phrase it a different way, by phrasing it in any way, to begin with. No, I'll be straight with you. Currently, this ship is trapped in a cycle of time that has been repeating every 3 days, and your crew has been dwindling each time, and who knows, you might be next.
Marines? Lieutenant?
Oh no! No, please, sir. There's a very smart, charming, bright, handsome lieutenant outside the door right now who knows exactly what I'm talking about, and he can back me up. And you know you can trust your lieutenants because they're very capable and smart. Sir, please don't have me whipped.
I am absolutely beside myself.
Oh my god.
I am so beyond. This is... I love this. Okay. And I mean that with all sincerity. Alright, so... God, I've never seen this side of Adrian and I love it. Alright.
He's never felt this side of him.
The lieutenant, hearing your panic, comes into the room and the captain says, "Take this man away. God damn it, give me some
don't.
decent medical help." And the second lieutenant says, what exactly is the problem? And what exactly have you been saying?
Well, he does... Well, look, I've tried to wake him up, and he doesn't really believe me,
Wake
because
me
it's
up?
quite absurd.
Good God, what are you talking about? Sir.
I literally told you what I was talking about.
Sir, says the second lieutenant, it seems that the ship and our mission has been compromised in some ways. I should say so. Someone put a bloody madman on here and called him a doctor.
Adrian rolls his eyes.
No, sir, not that. It seems that this is going to be rather frightfully insane to explain, but, well, there is a reason there are hunters on this ship, and I suppose it's because we are under some kind of spell. Spell, says the captain. Yes, it is a kind of spell that seems to make us all think we are revisiting the same 3 days over and over again. And you can confirm this, he says, looking to the doctor.
Yes, it's exactly what I told you.
That's definitely not exactly what you've told me, he says.
Well, I tried.
Is there anything more, now that the second lieutenant has smoothed things over, is there anything more you think you can say to him? Because I'm trying to get him opened up to a persuasion roll.
Sir, Captain, if I may, Captain, sir, we've both come to you with this concern, because knowing that you are our captain, as you know, we need your leadership and your smarts and know-how to look after this ship you so love.
Scrunch his face up. Yes?
We need your help, Captain. We need your help, capital H.
Well...
H.
Sorry, that was so wild, my mind went blank. Trying to like process everything you just said.
Yeah.
He's blowing roses up his ass.
Okay, so that doesn't really convince him. You have definitely flattered him. That doesn't quite convince him
Why is he
of...
sick?
He got sick at lunchtime.
I'm saying, why is maybe his food is not good?
Why do you think your food's not good, sir?
Why were the hunters... Why were the hunters not letting the doctors... The doctor in?
Yeah, because he was obviously waiting for a doctor, but the hunters didn't let a doctor come in.
I'm not smart. Neither's Adrian. Captain, sir, wait a moment. Think of this.
Open your noggin real
Consider
quick.
this.
Consider. Go.
Yes, please. Sorry. You said you were... you had sent for the doctor. Yes? I know you don't believe in my medical prowess any longer. Nonetheless, you had sent for a doctor because you were feeling unwell.
He nods.
Well, Lieutenant Fitzgerald, he can back me up. The hunters were denying our entry to you.
What do you mean the hunters were denying entry?
It's literally what I just said, sir. They would not let us enter the room or see you. They said it would lower morale.
I'm sick. What on earth were they thinking?
I know!
Okay, so you're starting to get them more on your side.
That's exactly my point. They're very suspicious fellows. They wouldn't let us in. They're very mean. They know something's going on this boat, and they're not allowing us to investigate. Or even look after the captain.
Captain kind of breathes a little heavier, and he looks over at Fitzgerald and eyes him, and he goes, "Where the devil is your coat, man?" And Fitzgerald says, "We have a bit of a rat problem, sir," he says. "I'm sorry? What does that have to do with your bloody coat?" "Well, I was, down in the hold. The hunters, they know something about the rats. This could be why your food is made you ill, and the hunters know something about it. But if there's a spell on the ship, and the hunters know about it, as you are accusing them of having something to do with this strange bit of conspiracies that you two are weaving together, what on earth is the connection?"
You're not well. There's rats. The hunters don't want us to investigate either of them. They don't want you to get any better. And that's a problem. So, here we are.
He nods. He seems to trust you and Fitzgerald now.
I wouldn't.
He at least knows that Fitzgerald wouldn't lie. He's not so sure about you. So you haven't
Look,
convinced
I
him.
understand.
You haven't opened him up to persuasion at all. However, he does nod and he goes,
Oh.
"Alright, I think I shall have a word with the hunters then. But later, when I'm feeling better."
Oh, I don't know if that's a good idea, Captain, sir. I don't...
I am the
That might
captain
not be
of
wise
this ship.
if they were
Excuse me. I am the captain of this ship.
Sorry.
I am the one in
I'm sorry.
charge.
Sorry, Father. I mean, Captain.
He stands up, and he still looks ill, he still looks pale, but he is holding on to the nightstand. "And if something is going on aboard my ship, I will get to the bottom of this. The two of you
Yes.
are dismissed."
Sorry. Okay. Sorry about that. Yes, sir. Of course. Obviously. It's fine.
They leave.
Oh. I think, yeah, no, I think probably Fitzgerald just, like, yoinks Adrian out of there.
Okay.
Because he won't stop blabbering.
Yeah, and Fitzgerald brings you back to your office, and then he closes the door and he looks at you and he goes, "What was that?"
I'm doing my bloody best. You could imagine. being in this situation, which you in fact are in, and trying to explain this to another person in any rational way so they'll believe you. I'm doing my best. I'm not cut out for this sort of thing.
You're right, I apologize.
I convinced you because you're so nice, obviously. Thank you for the apology. I'm sorry. I'm stressed.
You were just so smooth before. He holds his head.